Hey everybody, Sean here. Today I want to talk to you about flat earth versus round earth. Now this is not going to be a debate where we talk about or try to prove whether or not the earth is flat or the earth is round. Even though I do feel that the flat earth theory is kind of neat and entertaining, um, this isn't what that discussion is about. What this discussion is about is it's pretty much asking you, okay, let's just say that NASA scientists and all the world leaders come out and they tell you that they've been lying to you, that the earth is actually flat with a dome over top of it, the way the flat earthers say it is. How is that going to affect your daily life? Now, granted, there's going to be a situation, now going past, excluding the situations where people just, I guess, having mental breakdowns over this, or people getting so angry and upset with being lied to by their world leaders that they decide to have a revolution and overthrow those leaders and replace those leaders with new leaders who will eventually lie to them about things down the line. And then of course people will wonder what else have they been lied to about. And things are just gonna repeat themselves. It's gonna be business as usual. There are gonna be things that you believe. There are gonna be things that you don't believe. There are gonna be conspiracy theories. There's gonna be truth, and it's just gonna continue the way it is, just differently. But let's just go up the whole. Uh but you're still gonna have to wake up. You're still gonna have to be a productive member of society. You're still gonna have to work. Unless you're independently wealthy or you just decide to become a vagrant, you're still gonna have to work. You still got to provide for yourself and your family. You're still gonna have to eat. You're still gonna have to drink water in order to remain hydrated. You know, the machine is gonna keep on going, regardless of whether the Earth is flat or the Earth is round, and that's just the bottom line. So your daily life ultimately isn't going to drastically change that much, if at all. So the biggest question is going to be why would you lie to us? Why would you say that the Earth is round, contained within this solar system, galaxy, universe, if you knew that was false? Well, there are two reasons. There are two possible answers to that. One religious, one sort of psychological. And let's just gloss over the religious reason really quick. Simple. Lucifer started the Lucifer started the lie that the earth was round in order to manipulate God's creation of man, so that they will of humans, so that they will if they can prove that if it says that the earth is round when the Bible says the earth is flat, it causes people to question the Bible and question God. People question the Bible and they question God, then people start to turn away from God, and that's what ultimately what Lucifer will want. To try to get people to turn away from God. That's why Lucifer would start the manipulation that the earth was round, as opposed to being flat. That's the religious answer for it. The other answer is psychologically. All right, the psychological answer is this: if the earth is flat, there's a dome over top of it. The dome could be there for two reasons. One, maybe to protect us from any forces that are outside the dome. Two, to keep us trapped within the dome. Now, if we're trapped within the dome, and there's flat earth, there's a dome, we're trapped, we know we're trapped, we know there's no way out, then psychologically that could affect us in a negative way. Whereas with a round earth contained within a universe, there's the possibility of us getting off of it. Even though we can't do it right now. And when I say we can't do it right now, I'm talking about collectively, each individual can't just hop on a spaceship and fly off into space. And if we fly off into space, where are we going to go? There's nowhere else to go. We're just going to float around in this void until we die or until we return. So even though there's a way off, there's technically not a way off, but there's the possibility, and that's where the whole universe comes into play, because the universe is set up to where there are other planets that we can go to. Right now, we're talking about colonizing Mars, and they're always searching for other planets for us that we can possibly colonize, not individually. No, everybody that's on the Earth in the here and now, or at the time of making this video, we're not going to be able to go to another planet and live. It's not going to happen. It is highly improbable, next to impossible that it's ever going to happen, that we're ever going to be able to do that. But as a species, we can do that. So the round Earth offers the possibility that as a species, we will maybe one day be able to colonize other planets. So even though I will not be able to, unless for some reason I'm immortal and I don't know this, or eternal, but cannot, I'm not going to be able to leave this planet and go to another planet. But the species is. And knowing that there's the possibility of the species being able to one day leave the planet, it offers some form of comfort, whether it's conscious or subconscious. It offers some form of comfort. Whereas if the Earth is flat with a dome over top of it, consciously and subconsciously, for a lot of people, it'll offer a sense of worry, a sense of being trapped. And another thing with that is also, I think it may have something to do with the increase in population and the increase of using the earth or the natural resources. If there's a certain, okay, bottom line is if there's a small number of people on the planet as it was thousands upon thousands of years ago, well then, you don't really, then, you could be fine knowing that there's this dome and that you can't leave, especially, and like I said, if you look at thousands of years ago where people didn't have flight, they didn't have travel, they didn't even think about being able to escape the planet. There's still, it's a psychological aspect to where you're fine, even if you know there's a dome over the earth. You're still fine with that. But the increase in population and the increase in the use of natural resources and the increase of pollution and the increase of these things, it makes you sit there and realize that, hey, wait a second, this earth isn't going to be able to sustain us for much longer. It's not going to be able to sustain humanity much longer. And if there's a dome, well then, obviously, there should be cause for concern. Now, you would think the cause for concern would be people just not destroying the fucking planet. But again, other factors come into it. Well, obviously, there are people right now who are concerned with destroying the planet and pollution and the things of this nature. But then there's also the other part of the population that is greedy and they want to make as much money. They don't care at what expense they do this at. So that's why, so you have that aspect going on. But ultimately, I'm pretty sure I got my point across with this video. I'm not really sure. I think I've explained it well, but whether or not you get the explanation, I'm not really too sure of. Hopefully you did. But all I'm saying is, if the earth is flat, your life isn't going to change. And why would science and the world leaders lie to us? Well, because it's psychological reasons in order to keep us subdued and at a certain level of comfort. You're getting back to the whole thing of and I'm talking and thinking at the same time, so that's why I may be stopping, starting, jumping, and maybe repeat myself too. But like I said, with the population control, like I said, and even with population control, with the flat Earth, you're trapped in a dome. The population grows. It causes a concern of, are we going to use up all our resources? Are we going to run out of room? Are we going to this? Are we going to that? Even though this planet is pretty fucking huge in comparison to us. But at least with the round Earth or the global Earth, even if the population still grows exponentially and we become overpopulated, at least there is that still slight glimmer of hope, or that still chance that we can leave the planet and colonize somewhere else, whether we have a space station in space, or we travel to the moon, or we travel to Mars, or we travel to some far off distant planet. There's always the possibility. So it makes you feel, even though there's still some concerns and worry about overpopulation and overusing our resources, there's still a bit of comfort level of knowing that there is an escape, a way out. Not so with the flat earth dome. But anyway, that's just something I want to share with you guys. And I'll catch you on the flip side.